It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha! Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Welcome to the Brouhaha, y'all. So good to be here tonight, and Dale and I are here. And Dale, I tell you what, I'm glad you're here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't think you could do the show without me, could you?
Oh, well, no, I think everybody in the world knows that.
Yeah. Well, I can't do the show without you then, buddy. Okay.
What's it? We got to say mutually beneficial relationship here.
Well, I would say that too. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
well, you sound sort of guarded.
Well, I'm thinking about what I need to say, because I don't want to drown in my sweat.
Thinking, you actually, there are people that actually think about what they're going to say.
Do they?
Yeah, I guess so.
I didn't know that.
Well, listen, anything in the sports world going on, I know we're going to get to our guest in a minute, but anything out there going on that you want to share with our listening audience tonight? Any big news in the sporting world that's really got you fired up or anything?
Nothing that I can officially release to the public.
Oh. So in other words, we got something in the works that's really going to be big. Really
people got stuff in the works all the time.
Well, listen, Dale, talking about having stuff in the works, we got something in the works tonight with our guest. Tell us about our guest for tonight.
Well, everybody knows him. What I need to say anything about him for? Don't they know him?
You are in rare form.
I mean, this is Bobby Hall's son. Have I said enough?
No.
That's Will Hall.
What does he do?
Right now, he's coaching football at the University of Southern Mississippi.
I got to tell you, we're kind of carrying on and stuff, and I'm really excited about this one. When they hired Will, year before last, got him in there. Last year was his first year. I was really excited about that hire. Boy, he had his hands full last year, man. I mean, but you know what? They say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. He finished strong. He won his last three.
He did. He reminded me, we talked a couple of weeks ago with Austin Bishop.
Yes.
And Austin, he's a great sports writer, but he was telling about the first game he ever covered, and I go back to that. I think it was the 1976 season. Bobby Collins' first year at USM, and I know it was his second year at USM, excuse me, and they got off to a 9-0 start and finished 2-9, and last year's team reminded me a lot of that, and Bobby Collins turned out to be probably, I would say, the best coach the Southern Miss has probably ever had, as far as how he put them on, how he took them from where they were. And when he left them, he left them in a lot better shape than he found them,
So, and to add to that, when he left them, he went to probably what was the hottest ticket in NCAA football at the time. That was the Pony Express.
Yeah, he walked into a wealth of talent at SMU. And when I say the word wealth, I mean wealth.
Yeah. Oh, you do, man. They were spreading it around. Not that Bobby. Now, we're not talking about Bobby, but that's some people may not remember that they got the death penalty for what does that mean in football, Dale? Tell me.
The death penalty, I think they're the only ones that's probably gotten, and I think the NCAA probably learned a lesson from that too. But the death penalty is when you can't play football, and I think they were out 3 or 4 years or what it was, but they've never really recovered from that death penalty. Honestly, I mean, it took them
decades.
Well, yeah, and they're still probably nothing like they were at that time, because they could play with anybody in the country.
Yeah. They were they were doing it, and it was a big deal. But listen, we got a good show tonight. We got a good guest tonight in Will, and you and I can get together and talk a little bit when this thing's over with, and we're going to get to Coach Hall in a minute. But first, a word from our sponsors, and then Dale and I will be back with our guest right after the break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Coach Will Hall from the University of Southern Mississippi. How you doing today, Coach?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, guys. We just got done with our third practice, first day in pads, and we're in a much healthier situation than we were last year from a roster standpoint. We've got way more players. Our talent's upgraded after another year of recruiting. We feel like we're heading back to getting Southern Miss where it's supposed to be.
Well, Coach, you know, you like the old Johnny Cash song, I guess. I've been everywhere. Because you kind of climbed the ladder. You just weren't handed this job, and you've had your places like Arkansas, Monticello, and Henderson State and Southwest, and I think you were Presbyterian for a while, and then you got some head coaching jobs at West Alabama and at West Georgia. Tell me, or tell our audience, how that's prepared you for this job at Southern Miss.
Oh, I think it's just been the way I came up in the profession is just such an advantage, in my opinion, over the way most people go up in it. Now, it's really hard to do it, and that's why not many people do it anymore, because it's hard to get to this level when you start off at the lower levels because of the connections you got to have and the people you know. But if you can ever battle through it and make it, the people that have done it have generally been really successful, because it's so much easier to coach at Division I than it is at Division II and the lower levels, because in Division I you got way more help, right? You've got a full training staff, you've got a full weight lifting staff, you've got a bigger football staff, you got academic people that help you, you've got full scholarships so the kids are taken care of with nutrition and all better. Whereas at the lower levels, you just got a few coaches and you have to run the weight room and help the trainers, drive the bus, paint the field, help with college algebra and be the tutor and do everything. So it's really hard coaching at that level, but it over prepares you for this. And I'm blessed to be here. You guys know I'm Mississippi through and through. I believe in Mississippi. I believe in the people in Mississippi. I believe in what our fiber's made out of. And I'm just proud to be here representing us all and excited about the future and where we're headed as a program.
Well, listen, you got a lot of people excited, and Marshall's going to talk to you about recruiting and all that. But last year, toward the end of the season, I had the pleasure of watching your last game, and you beat I think it was Florida Atlantic or one of those Florida schools, and one of your running backs was playing quarterback, so you were on a limit. But now you seem to have more players in spring than you ended with the fall. Is that correct?
That is, the NCAA scholarship limit is 85 scholarships, and last year we were playing at about 62 scholarships. So, we were like, I tell people all the time, as great of a football program in history as Taylorsville has at 2A and 1A, if they'd had to play 6A for all these years, they'd had a tough road to hoe. And that's kind of what we were last year. We were a 2A school playing a 6A schedule from the amount of kids we had in the program. And we think we fixed that. We'll be up to 80 or more scholarships this upcoming year. We'll still be young, but we'll be young and talented. And we feel like, like I said, we laid a great foundation and we're on our way back.
Coach, this is Marshall. We're excited. I'm like Dale. We're excited that you're here. You're talking about Mississippi, and we'll call it that Mississippi medal, kind of you referred to there a while ago. I noticed in looking at your recruiting class, and I could be off a little bit because I do get off in the corner sometimes, but I see where you signed 18 from the traditional approach, 14 of them from Mississippi, 10 from the transfer portal, and my records indicate all of them from Mississippi. I got to tell you what, that right there excites me as a USM fan.
Well, I'm glad it does. When we came here, we said we've got to get back to what works. When you look at Bobby Collins and Jeff Bauer specifically, they were the ones that really laid the blueprint for how to win here and how to get people involved and how to get people excited again. Now, there's been a lot of other people winning from Coach Carmody, and Coach Van was in that blueprint, back in the day as well, and Coach Fedora and those guys, Coach Monkey, but we got to get back to recruiting our blueprint. There is good football all around us in that footprint, and we've signed 36 kids in 14 months of being here that play high school football in the state of Mississippi. Some of them are from high school, some JUCO, some portal guys. But in just 14 months, we put 36 people in our program. And they were all highly recruited kids, too. Now, they weren't kids that, that went to Southern Miss. That's all they had. We had to beat people. And that's the name of the game. When you start winning recruiting battles, you start winning on the field. And like I said, the overall health and well-being of our program is in much better shape than it was this time last year.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about the recruiting process for a minute. I mean, there's some huge changes, recently that have happened. And, you look at the recruiting model, I may be off in my nomenclature a bit, but, it used to be the standard deal with the signing day. Then now you move to the early signing period and then the normal signing day. And now you got the transfer portal. I know you had a lot of success, it looks like, in the transfer portal. Is this more difficult for you to recruit under this new model, or how do you feel about the new model? I'm not talking about NIL or anything like that. I'm talking about the transfer portal and what it means to you and in recruiting.
Yeah, the thing for us is we don't really care we don't really care how we got to recruiting them, whether it's high school, junior college, or transfer portal. What we care most about is where are they from and how well do we know them, and are they a Southern Miss guy?
Yeah.
And so when you look at all the kids we took from the portal, they're from right here in our footprint. You're talking about Wayne County. You're talking about Pearl. You're talking about Tylertown. You're talking about Harrison Central. You're talking about Houston, Mississippi. Those are Southern Miss people.
Yeah.
So if they got lured away early on in their life and it didn't work out, and now they're older and they realize that, and they want to get back home and get back to playing football where it matters at a place where it means something. Because, man, if you grow up in Bassfield, Mississippi, and you play at Southern Miss, that matters.
Yes, sir.
All right, if you grow up in Shabuda or Hiawassee, and you come over to Southern Miss and you play, like, that matters.
Yeah.
And these kids, that's what we're selling to these kids. And slowly but surely, not really slowly, but just step by step, day by day, we're building it back to that. And getting it back with the belief. There's no reason why you shouldn't win here. We've won forever.
Yeah.
We've got great history and tradition, great fan base. Our administration's awesome. We just got to get it back right, and it just takes going to work every day.
I want to ask you one more question, and Dale's going to come back at you. But, in recruiting, when you're evaluating prospects, I guess some schemes or some talk about recruiting folks to fit your scheme versus recruiting folks that you would build a scheme around. Which one of those ends of the spectrum are you on, or are you maybe a blend? What do you think about that?
We try to have a really big toolbox where we can take what we've got and use what we need out of the toolbox, if you will. So defensively, we were able to get our defensive mantra back last year. We played really good on defense a lot and started building that nasty bunch mentality back. In the kicking game, we had some games where we were really good, even though we were shorthanded. Offensively, we just had a year where we didn't have any quarterbacks, which made it tough. We were able to win some games without quarterbacks, tremendously hard to do. But we're in a much better situation now. So we want to be flexible with our schemes to fit what we have. But now, through recruiting, we'd like to recruit to what we want to be. And no matter what, Dale, the thing that I believe has stood the test of time, if we're going to put rings on our finger, it don't matter if we're at Wayne County, it don't matter if we're at Quitman or Southern Miss or Alabama or the New England Patriots, we got to find a way to run the football. Okay? And we got to find a way to play great defense, because you just don't put rings on your finger without doing that. And so we've always been able to do that everywhere I've been. Like I said, we've got half of that already. We're playing good defense, and I think we're on our way to getting back to being a physical offense too, as we continue to manufacture and build this roster.
Well, Coach, this is Dale again. You put up some points everywhere you've been on offense, like West Alabama one year you almost scored 50 a game, I believe. And a lot of your offense, people don't understand. Most people think they're just normal fans. If you're scoring 50 points a game, you must be throwing the ball right and left and all over the field, spreading the field. But your running game has always been very successful. I know when you were at Tulane, following you down there a little bit, especially one day down at USM, I think you scored like 66 points against 4 Eagles then. And I mean, you just were great at running the ball as well as passing the ball. So do we set up the pass for the run, or is it vice versa in your scheme?
What we want to do is, we say going into every game, we want to be 50-50. All right, and then from that point on, whatever the defense is going to take away, then we'll do more of the other. But we want to be balanced, and balance to us is not the same amount of run calls as pass calls. It's being able to do what you want to do or what you need to do when you need to do it. Mm-hmm. And I am a believer that you have to run the football at some point if you're going to win a championship. You have to have a physical presence. Football is a physical game. I didn't make it that way, but it ain't changing anytime soon. And, so we've always been really good at running the football and been really efficient at quarterback. We are a quarterback-driven program. I've had tons and tons of quarterbacks that were All-Americans and All-Conference throughout my career. We're going to get back to being that. And a great way to develop young quarterbacks to make sure you run the football and create one-on-one situations and make it easier on them. So, like I said, we feel good where we're headed.
Hey, well, everybody else does too. Talking about your quarterbacks, okay, it seems like to me, following the history of the USM football program, when they've really won really successful, I'm not talking about 10 ball games or something like that, or, they've had a Jeff Bauer or a Reggie Collier, or they've had a Brett Favre, or they've had an Austin Davis or a Jeff Kelly. Now, do you have somebody on campus now that is in that mold?
Well, we think we do, and that's why we've always done a tremendous job recruiting quarterbacks everywhere we've been. Because I've been at lower levels, we've always had to find kids that had that it factor and got overlooked for whatever reason. So we've always done a good job of recruiting and developing quarterbacks. We've signed 2 kids since we've been here that we thought were the best quarterbacks in the state of Mississippi. Ty Keys 2 years ago from Taylorsville, is a legend. His high school career, he got to play in 4 games last year. He really showed he belonged on the field with Alabama, which is, not many people can say that. And he did. He got hurt. He's fully healthy. He's going through spring. He's taking the reps with the ones right now. We got another young man that early enrolled. He's a senior in high school, graduated early, named Zach Wilkie from Hernando. Zach was the top quarterback recruit in the state of Mississippi this year. Had a lot of offers. Was a great basketball player, great family, winner, leader. They're both here right now. They've got everything you want. And being a quarterback, they're just young. But they're young and talented. They're driven. They got great families. They're winners. They're leaders. They're multi-sport kids. So we feel really good about them and where we're headed. We've got a great quarterback committed this upcoming class. We're chasing some more. We've got another young man on campus that started the year as our starter named Trey Lowe, who was a highly recruited kid who's coming off a foot injury. So we got 3 kids in the room that were high recruits that a lot of people wanted, that have a lot of talent, and they're all good kids. We just got to continue to mold them and develop them and get them comfortable. And I think, we're on our way back to being a quarterback-driven program, though.
Of course, right now there's, I guess something's up in the air, but are you feeling real good about this switch to the Sun Belt Conference for Southern Miss in particular?
I am, yes, sir. I feel like that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I think it's going to be a great move for our fan bases and the fan bases of people that we're going to be playing. I think that it's a natural fit geographically. It's a natural fit from the type of schools that are football guys with football history. So we're excited about the future, in the Sun Belt. And I do, in my opinion, I think it's going to happen this upcoming year.
Listen, one other question I was going to ask you about your offense or your just coaching philosophy, especially on the offensive end. I know your dad's got a big influence in your life and some of the assistant coaches that he had along the way too, that he molded into great head coaches. But tell us somebody in the college world that really, that you might have taken a lot from.
Yeah, so number one, Jim Tressel. I'm a big Jim Tressel guy, the longtime Youngstown State head coach, won a bunch of FCS national titles, then went to Ohio State and won. I just think he's actually the president of Youngstown State now. I just think he's a prince of a man, a real leader of men. Just a man's man in every way. His players loved him. He held them accountable. Just a first-class guy. So Jim Trustle's one of my all-time heroes. As a young kid, I was a big Bill Walsh guy. I think Bill Walsh was the first guy that really made people believe you could outthink people instead of just out-tough people in this game. Big Bill Walsh guy, study everything about him. And I'm also a big Pete Carroll guy. I think Pete Carroll, from a positive energy standpoint, taking the responsibility that everybody you touch every day, you have the obligation as a leader to impact them in a positive way. And so those are three guys that anytime I can read something, study them, get something on them, I always take advantage of that.
This is Marshall again, Coach. I want to back up to your spring. You say how far are you into your spring? You're 3 days in, and what are you looking for, and what are your main goals that you hope to accomplish here in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we're 3 days in. The big thing we're trying to get accomplished is we enrolled 26 newcomers at mid-year. We got to teach them the system. And, I know this is a real vague answer, and next year I'll probably have a real specific answer for you because we'll be at another phase of our program and the overall development of it. But, Marshall, right now, we just got to get better.
Yeah.
Like I told these kids, we've got so much more competition in every position group than we used to have. Everybody, just because you started last year, that doesn't really mean you started on a 3-9 football team. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not what Southern Miss is about. We've recruited more players. We've recruited more talent. We've got to compete within ourselves better. We got to get better individually, which will make us better collectively. And we just got to get better across the board as we continue to build this program.
I'm a homer. I'm over here in Wayne County, and I know we got a couple of guys that you have gotten out of the transfer portal, Armandus Cooley and, of course, Bibbins, one from State and one from Ole Miss. How are those gentlemen doing over there for you?
They're doing really good, man. They are great kids. We really love them. They fit right in. They're Southern Miss type guys. They're Will Hall type guys.
Yeah.
I love both of them. They're down and dirty in the trenches. They love football. I think they're happy to be back here.
Yeah.
Again, man, Quentin is from Waynesboro and Armandus is from Sabuga.
Yeah.
And playing at Southern Miss matters.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying? Sheldon Gandy played here. Tracy Lampley played here. Travis Cooley played here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long lineage and history of great Southern Miss players that played at Wayne County. And they're next in line, and all their people will be at every game. And they understand the history and tradition of this place, and we're excited about both of them and what they're going to bring to the table.
Well, Coach, I tell you what, we're getting a little short of time here, and I want to leave you with this. There's a lot of excitement around what you're up to at Southern Miss, and I'm among that number. And like the song said, give me something to believe in, and for me, you're doing just exactly that. My crew and I hadn't been to a game in the last few years, I'm ashamed to say, but I can guarantee you one thing. We were talking about the office this morning. Come opening day on the 3rd, we're going to be there, brother. We're looking forward to it. We're excited about USM football again, Coach.
Well, good. That's what we want, and like I said, Marshall, the thing we're doing is, we didn't have a good first year. Some of that's our fault, some of it's not. We got to play the hand we're dealt. But what I told somebody the other day is the most surefire way to know if success is coming or not is recruiting.
Yes, sir.
All right, and when you see the way we're recruiting, Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe his first year at Alabama. Okay?
Right.
He was the same coach that year that he is right now.
Yeah.
But what he's done since that year is he's recruited a lot of really good players.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And we're on our way back because we're fixing this roster and we've got a great plan and how we're attacking it, and we feel really good about it.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking your time to be with us, and we're with you all the way. And we're going to have to cut you loose now and take a break to hear from our sponsors, but we sure do appreciate you. Best of luck to you, Coach. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Dale. Appreciate all you do for us.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. I think I've conveyed this over and over and over, but as a University of Southern Mississippi graduate and fan, I'm super excited about our coach, Dale. That was any reflections on that interview you want to talk about before we move on?
I think that he is going to do a fantastic job down there. I really do. I mean, I've just got 100% to a belief that USM has the man in place that needs to be down there at this time.
Yeah.
And they've got a basketball coach and a baseball coach. I mean, all of them are similar, as far as their backgrounds in Mississippi and coaching in Mississippi, and all of them being here a long time, and even the women's basketball coach. They are USM. He talked about his show USM players. That this person's a USM player.
Yeah.
These are USM coaches. Yeah. And he talked about his experience on the Division II level, having to do everything, whether it was washing clothes, driving the bus, or ever what it was, or sharing scholarships like he had to do. And this may not be in Alabama, and he's probably, if he ever gets that chance or something like that, that he's going to have a heck to work with. But the boy is so full of energy.
Yeah.
The
fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Bobby was wound up pretty tight with a lot of energy.
Sure.
Now, listen, we had some conversations with him before we went on the air. And you asked him, he was a pretty good player.
He was.
Now, talk to him a little bit. He won a pretty substantial award as a player, did he not? Talk to us about that.
Yes. Well, he went to Amory High School, and then he went to Northwest Junior College. And then he went to North Alabama. And when he went to North Alabama...
What position did he play?
He played quarterback.
All right.
And I'm taller than him, but he still played quarterback. And from people that played with him, say he was just a great leader. And, he might not have been 6'3", may not have been an NFL caliber player, but he was a winner by far because he ended up winning the Harlan Hill Award, and that is given to the lower division players. It's similar to the Heisman Trophy. Mm-hmm. So our streak is still alive through this week. George Rogers and Herschel and now. So we're still in that streak. Can you find us another Heisman winner for next week?
No, but I think I know somebody who can.
Call him up and tell him to get us to that.
Hey, Dale, find us another Heisman winner next week.
Hey, listen, you talk about, we kind of alluded to this in our discussion with Coach Hall, but like he said, it's still kind of up in the air, and he didn't want to talk about it too much. But just because something's up in the air doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it. And we're talking about this deal with Conference USA and the Sun Belt Conference and the stuff's going on. I mean, we all know that there's a couple of teams, well, 4 of them in the CUSA members like Southern Mississippi, Old Dominion, James Madison, and Marshall, that everybody's under the impression that in the fall they were going to be playing in the Sun Belt Conference and coming out of CUSA. Now CUSA has included them into their schedule. And I prepared a schedule somewhere around here, which I can't find right now, and it looked like Southern was going to be playing on that schedule, a Conference USA schedule this fall. Do we even know if that's going to happen yet?
I was told that on March the 1st that the Sun Belt was going to release their schedule. So I believe March 1st is today, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that schedule yet, but they said it was going to be released today. So I would assume that we're going to have some legal issues here, because I saw Conference USA send out a notice last week that they will go forward with, I assume, taking these 4 schools to court about the schedule, because they have contracts. And at one time, USM had a $5 million buyout to leave Conference USA. So if that's still in place, I'm sure that USM is going to have to come up with $5 million, or they're going to have to negotiate, and these lawyers like to negotiate. And so
billable hours.
Yes, billable hours. So So they may win, they may lose, but they can't play both schedules because that would be kind of rough on them.
Well, here's the schedule that USM had posted. I think I found this on the internet. Liberty, Miami of Florida. The Hurricanes. Okay,
Right.
that's Northwestern State, Tulane, Louisiana Tech, UTEP, North Texas State, UTSA, Middle Tennessee, Florida International, Rice, and UAB. That's a Conference USA schedule right there.
Well, the first four they're non-districts.
Yeah.
They're going to host Liberty and Hugh Freeze on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. Then they're going to Miami. Then they come back and they play Northwestern State, and then they go to Tulane the following week, and that'll end their regular season schedule. So that we know for a fact they're going to play those 4 games.
That's going to be a pretty tough start right there.
Yes, and so I don't think the Conference USA would schedule them to play in any of those 4 opening dates. So after that, the rest of those teams that are listed now would be you're talking about all the Texas teams, the UTEP, the North Texas, the Texas San Antonios, and those folks, Middle Tennessee, Florida International, UAB, and all those. They are in Conference USA. So Southern Miss wants to kind of swap that over and play the South Alabamas and the Troys and the Louisiana Monroes, Arkansas State, people that they've played before.
Yeah, but I look at this. I don't know where you are, and I want to know your opinion on this. You've been in this business a long, long time. You're very good at it. You've done a lot of research, and you know pretty much everything there is to know about sports. I'll give you that. I mean, you really do. You're very well versed. And you look at the Sun Belt Conference, and I look Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia State, Troy, Georgia Southern, Louisiana, Texas State, South Alabama, ULM, Arkansas State. I really like that. I really like that group of teams. I mean, you're always hearing about App State. Coastal Carolina's made a lot of noise in the last year or two. Troy, but I'm excited about this new conference. I think that's going to be a really good fit for you. I said, look, South Alabama, I mean, neighbors, that ought to be a great, rivalry game.
Yeah, I think that you have to play with, if you look at the SEC, is it really, are any of the teams in the SEC in a really big city? I mean, really. I mean, they're all, Georgia's in Athens, South Carolina's in Columbia. I'm not just saying, they're large cities, don't get me wrong, but they're not in Atlanta or Miami or New Orleans or say, Nashville. I know Nashville has Vanderbilt. Yeah. But that's the only private school in the conference, too. But those SEC schools back when they formed the conference in 1933, that's where they wanted to be. Auburn, Tuscaloosa, they're just not. They are getting larger because we got more people in the world. Yeah. But as far as where they started from, I think it's a little bit different than some of the other conferences. So you got to kind of, and if you look at this schedule, USM's, as far as some of the cities, Mobile is a little bit bigger than Hattiesburg, and I would say, I'm not sure about Monroe, but the rest of them, I think they match up pretty good. I think Georgia State and Atlanta.
I don't know, honestly.
In Atlanta, well, they're right on the outskirts of Atlanta, but you look at Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State, and we've heard about these. Appalachian State, remember, beat Michigan a few years ago. Coastal Carolina ran the table on everybody a couple of years ago. Troy's always been a great team.
Yeah. And that's not that far. Troy's not far at all.
And Georgia Southern, I believe they used to be really, really good. Yeah. And Louisiana is
Georgia Southern.
And is Louisiana the old? Is that Lafayette?
I believe it is.
Okay.
I believe it is.
And I mean that's a good rivalry. I remember years ago Southern Miss used to open up with Southwestern out of Hammond every year. Yeah. That was their. That was a good game. I just hate that Southern will probably not play their oldest rival anymore in Louisiana Tech. Yeah. And I think they'll find a way back on the schedule though, as far as a non-region game or non-conference game.
I'm looking at Georgia State and Georgia Southern would both be in the Sun Belt Conference. Now, I'm not going to quote Coach Saban on this, but one of these teams had a great deal of success running the ball against Alabama several years ago. It
was probably Georgia Southern. It was probably Georgia Southern.
And he was pretty upset about the way.
Well, coaches are funny. I talk to high school coaches, and sometimes I don't get to talk to college coaches a whole bunch, but high school coaches. Well, I'm not going to play that team because they don't run what we're going to see in the region play.
Yeah.
If you got a passing conference, spread offense, no, we're not going to go down there and play. And then I got some coaches say, well, we need to see that kind of triple option stuff because we may see it down the line in the playoffs, and at least our kids have seen it before. So you got different theories, and I look at it like too. I think Ole Miss played somebody a couple years ago. I think they might have played Georgia Southern a couple years ago in Oxford, and I'm thinking, why did you schedule these guys in the 9th game of the season? You're not going to see anybody like that in the playoffs, and it really is a disaster for your defense because. Yeah. You probably have the different keys than you do when you play a regular SEC team,
Yeah. Well, Dale, I hate to say it because it's been a lot of fun. It always is.
Is this it? Is this our final show?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Don't be such a pessimist, Dale. You're not that kind of guy. You're a sunshine guy.
I got you.
Be positive. So that having been said, our time for tonight is come and gone. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at The Brouhaha and on YouTube at The Brouhaha. Also tonight, stay tuned for War Eagle football with head coach Jack Hankins. But for now, it is time to say goodbye, Dale.
Hello, Mom. Goodbye, Dale.
Don't go throwing the curve at Dale and I will see you next week for more of The Brouhaha. Take us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to The Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of The Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.